Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I'm so excited to be doing it again, man. Last week, dude, last week was excellent. We had, the Soul Sonic Force on. Brandon was with us. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, what's up, Scott?
Hey, we've got Robert Kechter in the house tonight. So
Rob,
I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
we got
So
Rob.
so not only
LA
like
in the house.
Robert's not just an old partner of mine, he's like a friend of mine who's also a DJ. And he's kind of like worked his way through the nightclub DJ circuit for like over 10 plus years in his past. So he's able to kind of like bring all that experience and know-how as a founder and owner of a promotional company that he runs, Next Music USA. And he's also music director and chief business development officer for a radio station out in California, and huge source of knowledge and wisdom in the music industry. What's going on, Mr. Robert Ketcher? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How about both of you? What's up, Brandon?
Hey, what's up, Rob? What's going
All
on?
right, B and
Sunny out
B,
in LA, baby. It's sunny out in LA.
B and B company, baby.
Yeah, we out here.
Yeah,
Man,
we
like
are,
drinking
man.
the
How's it going
party.
out there in Hollywood, my friend?
You know what? It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
It's
let me
amazing.
ask you,
amazing.
No,
Rob, how'd you get out to LA? Like,
He's
how that
that's
happened?
who he is, where he's from.
Oh, she was born and raised
that's
in
where
LA.
that's I was born and raised in LA. So I've lived here. I mean, I've lived here all my life. I mean, and that's I've lived here all my life. This is really. I mean, so I know. I've been all over the country, the world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wait, say
and
that
this
one
is
more time.
where.
Say that one more time.
Say which one?
You've been where again? All around the
I've
where?
been all around the country, all around the world.
Boom.
And you know what? And this is my thing, man. This is when you know you're home. And now I love New York and I love the recreational aspects of Vegas and a lot of other things like that. However, whenever you're flying home and the plane comes in and it goes and you hear that bloop 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 and you look out the window, whether it's day, night, fog, rain, sunshine, whatever, as soon as you hear that bloop 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 and you look out, you know you're home. That's LAX for me.
Ah,
So that's
There it is.
that's how it does. But so
Now,
yeah,
now, growing up there, how did you get in the even the interest into dance music? I know that your parents had something to do with that. What's up with that?
it's kind of a little unique because I came to it all at a late age and a late time. I did as a I did grow up in a household where my mom was immersed in music.
Mm,
So driving in a car, you would hear everything. She was actually a singer before I was born,
whoa.
and
that's dope.
my when she was dating with my dad, I mean, this is kind of ironic, is that he would take her to after hours, which were only black clubs, and they would be the only two white people in the club, and he was dancing the chubby checker, the twist, before it became popular into the
Mm-hmm.
white community.
Mm,
So I think the music, and my parents also were very active in the nightclub industry when I was very, very young. And then my mom did remarry, and I ended up, into, I guess, what you would consider a normal household or upbringing, but it was always music that was around. And my mom was very supportive of that. When I was about 7 years old, get ready for this, is that this is probably one of the first impacts it had on music for me. She actually we went and saw Elvis Presley perform live at the Forum when
Oh,
I was
that's
about
dope.
7 years old.
That's
mm, classic.
And that shit left a big impact on me. It really
Oh, no
did.
doubt, no
yeah.
doubt.
And then, so I kind of grew up with a lot of country music. And then, of course, with the influence of my brother and my sisters, with rock, and so music was always part of it. And then I'm not ashamed to admit it, is like I was a big fan of Kiss when I was a kid and growing up, and but that just opened up a lot of different doors. And then there was a movie. I was just talking about it with somebody last night. As a matter of fact, there was a movie that came out, and two movies that really affected me. One was, it's a cult film called Phantom of the Paradise with Paul Williams, and it's basically a rock opera version of the Phantom of the Opera.
Mhm.
And the lead character, Paul Williams, who played a wicked record label guy. I mean, I'd watch that and I was going like, man, his name went by the name of Swan, and Death Records. And I was like, as a kid, I was going like, you can't get cooler than that. I want to be Swan. I don't want to
Mhm.
be out on the stage. I want to be that guy that's behind the things, making everything happen. And
Mhm.
then another movie is like Led Zeppelin. They did The Song Remains the Same. And as badass as Jimmy Page was on the guitar and Robert Plant doing it all up, it was always the scenes with their manager, Peter Grant. I was going like, that guy's badass. That's absolutely insane compared to, you got one of the world's greatest guitar players. And I'm watching going like, when are we going to see Peter Grant again and him
Mhm.
react? So I always wanted to be a performer, but then I think I never felt like that was my destiny. And also
Right.
too is behind the scenes was always far, far more intriguing with me. As a out of high school, I partied and lived all the way through 80s new wave and
Mhm.
during that particular time. And then, and I was just doing normal work and normal life. And then I was partying. And then that kind of took me to a point where I, had to step away from the clubs because wasn't a safe environment for me at that time. So you figure about a 5-year break. And then I actually, about 1990 is when circumstances kind of arose and I started going back to clubs and the music had changed. That was at the advent of when house was starting to really take off,
Mhm.
the house
Yeah.
movement, and also what we knew of
Rave.
techno
Yeah.
at that time, rave
Mhm.
at that time.
Mhm.
And
That shit must have been
so
crazy when it first hit the scene.
it was
Oh
stupid.
yeah. Mhm.
It was all stupid back then. I mean, stupid in the best way that you can ever imagine. Because
Yeah.
I think actually between 1990 and 2000, probably 98, 99, was the most revolutionary era of dance music that you could ever get. And
Mhm.
that's saying a lot considering the past decade, what we've experienced. But that was truly like the groundbreaking era of the whole thing. And we had, I mean, it was like with house music, for instance, we didn't say, well, it's tech house, it's that house,
Right.
it's this and that. It was straight up. Either
Straight
it
house.
was
Yeah.
it was straight house, and then it was identified by city. It was either Euro house, Chicago style house, New
Mhm.
York, or Miami. And
Yep.
Miami, and you could identify it based off those cities off of the major producers at that time. So Miami, you had Ralph Alcon and Oscar G of Merck that were developing that more Latin
Mhm.
Southern feel to it all. And then, of course, New York, you had Tony Humphries, you had Louis Vega and Masters at Work with Kenny Dope and Louis Vega
Mhm.
and David Morales. They were pumping out a whole different kind of vibe. And then, of course, Frankie Knuckles delivering it from Chicago. But actually, House started in Chicago between Frankie Knuckles at the Warehouse and Ron Hardy at can't remember the name of the club. They were the first ones to really deliver it all. And then you had Euro House, and in LA we had rave. LA
Mhm.
is the birth of the rave scene. So we have that in Hollywood.
Yeah,
So
that shit's nuts.
so I kind of I kind of started off kind of being interested, thinking I wanted to be a DJ, which I did. And and I was like probably anybody else. It's like I would play for whoever would listen to me. I did you know I do weddings and I was horrible mobile DJ. And I would do whatever event that could get. And then somehow or another, I mean, and I just took that thing. It was like I'm a DJ as well, so.
Mhm.
And and the days back then, it was harder for on two different senses. We didn't have the technology advances that we have today, because it was straight up vinyl, 12-inch vinyl. You had to be able to beat mix. You had to
Mm-hmm.
be able to create flow. You had to be able to read a room, do all that. It was a lot challenging. And then the environment was even harder because you didn't just walk into a club and say, "Gee, I want to play." It was like you had to get to know a DJ, and then the first you have to know what DJ, and then once you got to know that DJ, you'd have to go sit in the booth with them for a year before you would be lucky enough to play the last song of the night, and
Mm-hmm.
have to go through that whole mentorship and apprenticeship to be able to get a job that was going to pay you $75 a night, that you were going to spend $200 a week to be able to make that
Mm-hmm.
$75 a night. So that's literally what I did. I went through all those motions, and then but once I was able to break and get into that network, that's when I started working consistently and consistently and consistently, and carried that on through. And I was working my regular day job during this whole
Mm-hmm.
time.
What were you doing
And
as far
then,
as work? I'm just curious.
oh, at that time, I think what I was doing is I was working for a company that sold hydraulic hose and fittings. Very,
Oh
very
wow.
conservative company.
Oh, you were a salesperson.
Yeah,
Oh, I can
yeah,
see that. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Everything's starting to make sense. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I was totally a salesperson,
Hell yeah.
doing that shit, during the day, and getting,
Yep.
my biggest challenge was to get there before my boss got there, which
That's
was
a
at seven
huge
thirty in the
factor
morning.
in your success and anybody's success is how well you can sell yourself to someone,
Yeah,
That's huge. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I never really thought of myself as a sales. I kind of, probably not until with my music career inclusively, um, including my DJ work. Not until probably the last less than 5 years is when I really
They
started
I,
feeling
I worked
confident
in sales
immensely.
for a long time. And one thing that I do know is the best salespeople are never even trying to sell. It's just natural for them to be a great representative of themselves. Like they just know how to be, charming,
Mhm.
friendly, convincing, and trustworthy. That's all it really is. That's sales.
That's all it boils down to. And trustworthy is the number one thing. And it's like in this business, and that's a key thing about it all, is if you're a DJ, whether you're a producer, you're a promoter, you're a manager, whatever, it is a business. This is
Hmm.
a business, and there is sales involved with that, because you ultimately are always going to be pitching somebody something.
Hmm.
If you're a DJ and you want to work, you're going to be pitching yourself, and you're going to need to be able to do that. If you're an artist, you're going to have to pitch yourself to somebody in one way or another, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then the thing, as you indicated too, is, the you hope to be yourself, and not putting that focus on just being yourself, and being honest with yourself, and being honest with the people you're working with. I have worked with, I can't even put it, you can come close to a number of the amount of both deals and people I've worked with throughout, say, the last 10 years, just under Next, that
Hmm.
is always been that whole thing of like, I need to bring you value. You're going to work with me. It can't be a one-way street. I need to bring value. I want you to know that I'm trustworthy.
Right.
And once you build a reputation, then the game changes a whole lot more. So once Scott says, "I trust Robert," to Brandon, now Brandon comes to me and says, "Hey, Scott's talked up a lot of great stuff about you. You know what? You want to deliver on that." The last thing you want is for
Mm.
Brandon to come back to Scott and say, "This guy, I don't know what you're talking about with this guy. He never did anything with it." So,
Right.
you kind of, it doesn't put the pressure on, it just puts it into perspective. And so
Yeah.
I've always taken that approach of that. You know what? When you work with me, I want you to really feel like, okay, I got your back. I got your best
That's right.
interest. And in a lot of cases too, is that takes honesty as well, as being able to come and say,
Hmm.
like, "Listen, I'm not getting what what you're doing. It may make sense to you, but it's not making sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense to me, it may not translate to where you need to go. So I may not be the right person to work with you on that. Or, and there's no hard feelings on that. Or this is what's going to be necessary to be able to get it to where you need to go. Or where you want it to go, it's just not possible to get it to that stage, but we can do this to get you to this stage. So I find that directness is what I like to call it, is what has saved my ass more times than most, and has created the value with being able to work with whoever I work and be able to reach where we need to reach.
You've made some really big deals. Even from the time I met you, you've known a lot of really big names in the dance music industry.
Yeah, can I be nosy?
Really impressive.
Let's name a few. I told you I'm nosy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
He said, "Go ahead and name a few people that you've worked with in the past, say 10 years that are pretty you're proud of, or that's recognizable in your opinion."
Oh, from major artists, I was there's a couple major artists that I had a great deal of pride in, with moving. See, the key thing is I wasn't the main point person on a couple of these records, but I was a driving part of the team
promotion.
behind,
right,
with the promotion.
And that's another thing later on I want to get into too. I just wanted to shoot that up.
Yeah, like Fisher, I know. And then I forget who I remember I was trying to work on a remix project with you one time, and I forget who that artist was. It was a big hit. It was it was in the top 10 chart dance music in England, I think, or something like that. I can't remember who that was though, for some reason.
That's right. I did. I brought you in on one of the.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
That's how we met, I think, Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys meet?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Oh, hang on one second. Second.
Yeah. I used to work for a big record, classic house record label, Quark Records, right? And that's who got me in touch with Bob, was Curtis,
Curtis.
Yeah.
Curtis brought me, shot me, because I was doing a lot of work with Curtis back at that time. Yeah. And Curtis sent me his record. He sends me this. He says, "Bob, can you take a listen to this and tell me what you think? And is this something you can work with?" And I said, "Sure." And I came back to him. I said, "This is dope. We can tear this up." And so that was the Dubshine project. And that's how
Curtis, we hooked up. Yeah.
Yeah. Curtis put us together, because I thought I was going to work with Curtis, and Curtis says, "No, I want you to work with Scott directly on this one." Mm-hmm. And so, and that's how we hooked up. And then I did. Did you do a remix for me for Carolyn Munn?
Yeah, that, and also another one with that freestyle artist that did that Phil Collins remake. Forgot what her name was.
Was that a hockey star? Oh no!
What's her name? We can't remember anybody's name anymore.
Stephanie Bennett.
Stephanie Bennett. That's right.
That's my girl, Stephanie Bennett.
Oh yeah. She's cool as shit, man. Yeah, she wants me to work with her some more, to do some more like freestyle electro type music. She's definitely
that's her thing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do it. We love Stephanie. We love Stephanie.
Wait,
I call her Chick.
Stephanie Bennett.
She's freestyle is a form of, it's like a subgenre of electro music, and she sings that music and performs it all over the country, and she sells records. She's really bad.
She's badass. She's badass. I mean, I call her Chick. She calls me whenever she calls me, and I see what's up, Chick? And she's like, "Oh my fucking God," she just talks like this. She says, "Get the fuck out of here." So-and-so did it. I told him, "Get the fuck out of here." She talks so quick with her accent. I love her. I love this. Yeah, I did with Stephanie. Yeah, I put you on to Stephanie Bennett. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So keep working with her.
Yeah, I'll keep doing it, man. It was
next
good.
Next time you talk to her, tell her I say nothing but love. You
Okay,
know,
I'll let her know.
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to get in with Saladen. I might even do a track for his label, maybe,
Why would
but
you bother with that?
I
Really?
don't know. I don't know. I was just thinking about it. Some
Why?
of the crazy
Larry's
things
dope
that I,
too. No, no,
yeah.
no. Larry's dope. Larry's dope too. And it's like, so you know what?
Hmm.
Here you asked me. It's like, yes, Stephanie Bennett. I worked with Sladen, and both of them are. I'm proud as hell about with both of them, and both
Yeah.
of them are a perfect example of how things, even like with yourself, is what my job is. Sometimes is I come in and work with artists or on certain projects for whatever's needed for whatever period of time, and then they
Well, we
grow
may
and
definitely explore working with you, especially for our project, Brandon. We can definitely look at that. I remember the one time that I worked with you with your service, you boosted my Spotify streams like through the fucking roof, man. I was
Mhm.
like, damn, like you get results,
I'm very close. At some point in time, if given the opportunity, Robert, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely would love to definitely do that because, I yeah, you know what I mean. Just we'll talk about
Yeah,
that. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
definitely talk
we'll
about
talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Spotify. Yeah, Spotify was one of the. I mean, we're still active in doing that. It's just I just with the since I've been involved with mixes, it takes up more of my time. But definitely, we're still active in that. And Spotify was another fun thing about it is because in my world of promotion, it's like I started off as having a music pool, which I can explain more about that, which moved into doing into more extended club and DJ promotion, which extended into billboard promotion, which extended into, when Spotify came along, that was one of the things I saw a great opportunity with.
Oh yeah.
And and through our network and our ability to be able to do things, I figured like, hey, we can really make an impact on this. And the funny thing about it is I think it was maybe 2009. No, so I
Hmm.
don't know. No, that's not that far back. Um,
2011, 2015. I
yeah,
know I know with the Spotify you kind of worked on that in 2014 is when you first started getting into that.
so about 2014 or 2013, right around there. It may be. I was in Miami for Winter Music Conference,
Hmm.
and a really important person who was a great friend of mine and a mentor. The secret is that we never worked with together because he was a very controversial. He passed away in 2020 due to COVID, and his name was Gary Salzman, and his company was Big Management. And he was the most controversial guy that you could ever, in the music industry. No doubt somebody has had something controversial to say about Gary. And but I'll tell you, when I knew about him, and then I saw on Facebook one time, he says, I'm going to be in LA and blah, 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 blah during these days. So I sent him a message and I said, I'd love to see you while you're here. And he says, he doesn't respond back with, oh, that sounds great. And he just says, give me your phone number. So I give it to him. And then 2 minutes later, I get, he's calling me up. And, and I answer the phone like kind of nervously. And he says, oh, so you want to meet with me? Do you want to meet with me? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And he says, oh, that's great. I don't know who you are. And it says, I don't know who you are. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, well, you know what? I'm a guy that does this, and one day I want to be like you. He says,
that's all.
oh, that's,
Good for you.
this is, oh, that's great. Come meet me. We'll have coffee at whatever time at his hotel. And I thought, oh my God. And so I went and I met with him. And of course, I knew he smoked cigars. So I got him a really great cigar. And I was like, oh, here, this. And I felt like I was sitting in
Hmm.
Godfather. He's like, oh, yeah, we'll have some more coffee over here and everything like that. That was our
Oh,
first
he was an
introduction.
Italian guy, big Italian guy.
No,
Yeah.
he's a big Jewish guy. He was a
Oh.
big Jewish guy with the glasses, the whole thing, with the Armani suit, and it's like everything is like he's like, and I was like, and I remember, and another friend of mine at that time had a meeting just before him and was walked out and was shocked to see me in the lobby, and but was very happy and thank God. And he turns around and he says, says, Gary, this is a guy you want to talk to. He's very, very serious. And so so I got vouched before I went in to meet the Godfather. So that was our first meeting together. And then throughout the years, I would constantly keep in contact with him, or we would see each other, whether we were in the same city or not. And then it got to the later years, it got to the point to where he'd call me and said, I'm going to be in LA. Come, let's get together, have lunch, have coffee. And I would sit there and we would talk, and like real talk. And I used to always joke with him. I'd say, whatever my Godfather needs, I'm there. I'll be there for him. Stop calling me that. It embarrasses me. So we go through all that. And so we were in Miami, and I called Gary, and I said, I got to meet with you. Where are you at? And he says, I'm wherever. And I get there, and I said, I said, I got this great idea. I said, Spotify is coming online, blah, 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 blah. And I really see this as being a huge thing. And he completely blew me off. He's going like, oh, whatever. Completely blew me off out of the whole thing. This is my friend I'm coming and telling you to. He's my friend, Gary Salzman.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Within a month, he's doing Spotify promotion. And I called him, I said, what is this? I thought you told me. He says, well, I thought it was a great idea you gave me, so I jumped in it. I said, I thought I was wanting to work with you. And he says, well, you got your thing, I got my thing. I said, okay, that's great.
Oh, damn. Damn.
We were never mad at we actually exchanged ideas about how our processes and blah 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 blah. And but nonetheless, yeah, I'm still in that business, and that we're very effective with with a lot of artists. I mean, we've done millions and millions of streams and follows for a lot of artists, and
now,
that goes back into
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just I want to know, how exactly does it work? Because when you say Spotify playlist, like obviously like owning my own record label, being an artist, it's something I've looked into myself, right? But never really knew like how you go about it, how effective it is, because there's different playlists and things of that nature. So,
well, I'll give you two parts. I'll give it to you in two parts. If you're to copy, see, you hear like people saying like, oh, I didn't make shit, which some of them don't make shit. And there's two reasons: because there's not enough activity that took place on the song, and the other thing is that they may not hold the publisher or hold the rights to the music. So if you're an independent label and you own the publishing on it, you get directly paid. Mm-hmm. So it's all about you. Now, how does it all work? It's very, very fucking simple. You pick up the phone and call me and say, I want to do this, and I'll tell you what, and I have this budget, sales. And then I make it happen.
Make it happen, baby.
All right, Rob. I'll be
pick up the phone. You call me.
All the intricacies of it, you don't need to worry about. That's why you have me.
Yeah, you can make it happen. And how did you get into the Billboard though? Like that's huge. Like being able to get an artist to be charting on the Billboard. That's really gonna, help artists out. How did you get into that space?
Somebody said that I couldn't do it.
Oh.
They said that they said don't even try to promote to Billboard because all the Billboard promoters will block you and they won't like you and this and that. And I said, oh really? Well, that sounds like we're gonna go do that then.
And you did it.
I was younger and I had a lot more to prove back then.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations, though.
That was essentially, and then Carolyn Lund, who's been a
tell us about Carolyn Lund so our audience knows.
Carolyn Lund is the short side of it is that she is she's a singer and songwriter based in San Francisco, and she is just both beautiful, both in physical and in spiritual and all aspects. She's literally the most beautiful woman that I've ever encountered, or person that I've ever encountered, and genuine.
Mhm.
And her and I met back in 2009, and I was because I had my music pool, and I was looking to I was looking for content to service, and she was a self-funded independent artist at that time, and I loved her song that she had put out at that time, so that was where our connection began. And
Mhm.
then we became a little closer as far as getting to know each other, and I was at that time also starting to venture into management, and I really wanted to manage her. And so that's how her and I came together. And I've actually worked with her since then. She's had two Billboard charting records
Mhm.
during that time.
Good for her.
She's had a couple, yeah, she's had a couple records that I pick on her about from every now and then. She is our mix show coordinator. She's a mix show coordinator of Mix 93, so you can hear her on Saturday night, because she hosts a 4-hour block of music on Saturday nights called Saturday Night Sessions, and with Carolyn Lund, and you can hear her with the lunchtime hours, her voice, and she just has this beautiful sultry voice that is just like, it just carries with her. So, and as I said, she's just a beautiful person. And today I wouldn't say so much that I manage her, or even since then, but I've always probably been part of her career. And she did a record, I think 2 or 3 years ago, that she did a cover of a Diana Ross song called I can't remember it.
Mm.
Is every time she did a song. It was a very difficult record. The reason it was difficult is because she she brought it to me saying, like, I have an opportunity to record this record, and this guy, just somebody she knew for 100 years, a very reputable person apparently, was willing to fund the project. And so the two of them, the producer and her, drove down from San Francisco. We all met, walked through all the stages, we got everything signed off, and we decided to move forward. She recorded the record, and it was absolutely fantastic. And then I put together all the remix packages. So we're talking, yeah. I can't remember the name of the damn song.
When you
That's
tell
crazy.
me that you love me,
When you
was
tell me,
that the name?
yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
When you tell me that you love me. So this was an opportunity, for instance, this is what I would say what a good manager does when you're dealing with these sort of things. And that, it's like, okay, we're not going to be taking advantage of anybody, but we have an advantage to be able to get a lot of, more than what we would normally be able to do. If somebody has you come in and say, hey, we
Mhm.
need a budget like this, versus trying to work with a budget like that. So I came back and I asked her, I said, who do you really, really want to work with? Who do you want as a remixer? And she says, I want Tony Moran. I said, okay, I'll get it.
Mm.
I'll get it. And who else do you want? She says, well, I want so-and-so. Okay, we'll make it happen. And we were able to do that. And the Tony
Whoa.
Moran mix,
That's
we were
huge,
able
man.
to,
I think that was the guy we were working with. Tony Moran record. It was. That's what it was.
it's a
That's
Tony
what it
Moran.
was. Tony Moran. That's what we were working on together. Yep.
And Tony's a great guy. We love Tony.
Mhm.
Tony's a great guy.
Tony's dope, man.
So so the Tony story is, there's the Tony story that's really, really funny with this whole thing. And so Tony Tony does a regular Tony Moran mix, which is perfectly fine because Tony is great with what he does. But it was, so he sends me a mix and he calls me. He says, "Do you like the mix?" I said, "Yeah, And I said she's going to go nuts because she really, really loves Tony's work. So then he says, "Well, I have another mix I did do if you're interested." And I said, he says, "But it's an additional fee." And I said, "Well, send me the mix anyways." I said, "No, I'll take a listen to it." I said, "If we can do some business, we'll do some business." So, so I said, and this is on a Friday, and I said, I'm going to be gone all weekend. I'll call you on Monday when I get back. I'm going away for my birthday. So no problem. He sends me the mix, and of course I listen to it, 5 seconds after it comes in. And then I go through the weekend, and I called Tony on Monday, and he says, did you listen to that mix? And I said, yeah. And he says, what did you think? And I said, Tony, I was away over the weekend for my birthday. And he says, yeah, how was it? And I said, I was on the beach with my dog. And I said, Tony, that may sound trivial, but to me, perfect serenity is being on the beach with my dog. Life does not get it. Not my other half. None of this. Just on the beach with my dog. And I said, and that fucking mix was rolling through my head. So you might want to say it's like, yeah, I like the mix a lot. And I said, we're going to take the original mix. I said, no, I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to add this. I said, how much do you want for it? So he comes back with the price. And I said, no problem. I'll call you back. I'll call you back no later than tomorrow. So then I go ahead and I do my work, and I send it over to the producer, the money man. He goes, oh my God, how much? He says, I want this mix. I says, you should want it.
You should want it.
You should want it. This is the mix. This is the mix that is just like takes the song to a whole different level.
Right.
And so he says, well, how much does he want for it? And I told him, I gave him a price of, I think it was $500 more than what Tony was asking. $500 more. And he says, son of a bitch, blah, 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 blah. I want it. Make it happen. And I said, so you're approving the budget? He says, yeah. And I said, because I told him, no, I actually went $1,000 more and said, I might be able to get it a little less. I don't know. Let me see what I can do here. He says, just do whatever you can. If you can get it for a better break, then you can. So then, of course, I called Tony and I said, you know what? Everyone loves the mix. We want to take that in addition. And he says, I said, you wanted X amount of dollars for it? And he says, yeah. And I says, yeah, that's a problem right there. And he says, well, I can take less. And I said, what are you talking about? I got you $500 more for it. And he never expected that coming from somebody saying like, hey, I got you more money than what you were asking for.
Right.
And that was, it was
dope, man.
And then the producer, I said, yeah, I was able to get it for $500 less. And he was like, oh my God, you're
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
That's why people look at you as someone they really want on their team, because you're somebody who gets shit done. So that's really it's not even what you're selling, it's just what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what I agree with you. I think that's what you want. Yeah, is the results at the end of the day are what really matter. And mind you too, is there's times when even no matter what you can do, just something isn't going to work, even as much as you can put it with it. But more 8 or 9 times out of 10, we'll make it happen.
We've never encountered anybody that you wouldn't think it would work. You've never encountered that. Like Diamond, does that ring a bell? I'm not gonna say anymore, but some things just aren't meant to work out. Let's just put it.
Some things aren't meant to make good, but that, some things are, that I mean, that I mean, look, I mean, that was one of the more challenging projects that I worked on, and I really, ironically enough, it spawned from you. You're the one that put me into the W2, and
that's where I met Pinky. Ray Pinky through that, because and he was a real. I forget exactly what role he played on that, but I remember he wanted to hear the remix, and he was, kind of like giving his 2 cents in on it and stuff like that. And
I think, if I remember correctly, I mean, I know that you had done, I mean, if if anything, you had taken that record where that song, you know, closer to anything that it could ever be.
Right.
And it was, and that was, you know, and you know, and I thought I was just going to be able to just like give a little like, here, let me help you out with this, because he had another song that I was more interested in, that I made magic happen with. That one we did very well with, but and then that one is like but with that other, I mean, let's call it. I mean, I'm walking my cat named Dog. I mean, it was just really an odd kind of
sense. That was the name
but
of the
it made
song.
sense. But that's the thing about him, is like what I really appreciate is like he is weird as something can be. That guy really will say, "Hey, let's do this," and
He
just
believes in it.
really he
Oh yeah.
believes in it. It is like, and you
He used to
can't.
call me like every 4 hours. Hey, how's it going with the song, man? Hey, what's going on?
That's love and dedication right there.
Oh no, you know,
I'm on it, brother. I'm on it.
yeah, that one I was kind of like, wait, I was really looking forward to where it was going to like slow down from my portion of things, but
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, that was and then when I was at his house, I mean, 'cause I met him at his house, and the funny story with him is that he, you know, of course he's worked with, you know, well, yeah, he, when he came back to me after that whole Tiger King was a big fad and wanted to redo a Tiger King thing, I straight up told him no. I said, I can't, no, I can't. I'm
Can't
not,
mess
you know,
with that.
and with, you know, well, you know, Fabian, I got Fabian. I talked him to go into the studio. Well, good for you, bro. I'm not going to, I can't do it. But he had he shared a recording that he recorded Joe Pesci, you know, Mr. Mob Guy, Joe Pesci, singing. I can't remember the name of the song, but he was singing a song, because apparently Joe Pesci wanted to pursue singing at one point. And I thought this was fantastic. So I make him a deal. I tell him, I said, "What are you going to do with this?" He says, "I don't know, but Joe's really after me. He wants me to really do something with this." I said, "I'll tell you what, give it to me, and I'm going to make it work." He said, "Oh, well, you know." I said, "No, of course, I'm going to make this work." And he says, "Really?" And I said, "I will turn this thing out. I will turn it around, and I'll do it." And he says, "Well, what are you going to charge?" I said, "I'm not going to charge you a damn thing. I don't want any money for this, not a dime." He says, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I mean, you know," I said, "Of course, whatever remixes, whatever, all the costs you still have to take care of." But I said, "Me personally, I don't want a damn dime out of this thing." He says, "You're going to do this record for free." I said, "No, I didn't say that. I said, I'm not going to charge you any money." He says, "Well, what do you want?" And I says, "Well, I want to have dinner with Joe Pesci."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he
Right.
says, "Really?" And I says, "Yeah, and I want Robert De Niro to be there too. I want to hang out with my boys." I said, "You put that shit together." I said, I'll turn this around for you. I'll totally do it." It blew his mind. I was like, "I don't want his money." I said,
So wait, so did you have dinner with him?
"Nah, he never put it through."
You
I
never.
was so
Oh
disappointed.
man.
Oh,
Then he comes back to me with the Tiger King thing. Well, why am I interested in that? You didn't set me up with the boys.
Yeah. That
I
ain't
I
gonna
was
work.
rooting for you right there. Damn, that's
I
why.
know. I thought that was gonna happen.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna win at the end. I was like, come on.
He tried though.
I was
He gave it
rooting
a
for you.
shot.
I was like, fucking A.
Hell yeah.
But see,
So
these are some of the experiences that you run across.
how
And
did you meet Steve London?
oh, Steve London, my best friend and business partner.
Yeah.
Actually, excuse me.
And after you talk about Steve, can I like backtrack for a second and just ask a question in regards to backtracking? Since the
Sure.
beginning of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Steve London, yeah, you know, Steve London and I met indirect. Well, no, we were referred to each other because it was 2019. I was working with another remix team for a while, and I helped them get more motion with their remix work, which I did, and that would be Club Jumpers, Dan Matthews and Sam Matthews, of the Club Jumpers, and I was working with them, getting them work, helping bring their, helping guide their sound, and we were doing really well. Dan
Mm-hmm.
Matthews is program director for you did a mix on it for Rhythm 105.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I did.
so through the radio side of things, Dan, I was talking to Dan and I was going like, look, I want to do a mix show, not just to do me, spotlight me as a DJ, but the idea of it was to do a mix show that was all including all the music I was working at that
Mm-hmm.
particular time. And with that was the philosophy of, look, if I can play these records and they make sense, then you should be able to do the same thing. That was what the premise of the whole thing was.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan really liked the idea, but then I think he didn't. He's a great friend and everything, but I don't think I'm not sure if he thought, well, maybe this wouldn't be a fit for Rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't want to take the risk or anything like that. But he ultimately came back to me. He says, I think that you'd be a better fit with Mix 93 FM,
Mm-hmm.
and with Steve London.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time I was like, I don't care. I'll go do this shit on whatever. I don't care. I just want to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he referred me to Steve London, and then Steve and I. So I started doing some mixes for Mix, and then it just kind of developed. It, my original plan just went out the window, and then I started doing mixes. So I was submitting mixes to Mix, and then had a client from the East Coast that was going to be that. He calls me up and he says, look, I'm going to be in your neighborhood on whatever date. And he says, Lee Dagger of Bimbo Jones is going to be DJing. And I want to, and I'm going to be hanging out with him. Why don't you come by and see it? I said, oh, fantastic. I said, where you at? Where are you going to be? If you're going to be in my neighborhood, where are you going to be? He says, we're going to be in Palm Springs. Now, Scott, you've lived in Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Los Angeles. Palm Springs is like way the hell out here.
So
it's not quite my neighborhood, but like I said, he was a client of mine. So I said, okay, I'll be there on Saturday night. So then I thought about it. Steve at that time lived halfway between LA and Palm Springs. So I called him up and, because we'd spoken on the phone a number of times, but so I called him up and I said, what are you doing on Saturday night? He says, oh, I have no plans, mate. I said, listen, I got to go to Palm Springs. Got to go see Lee Dagger. He said, oh, Lee Dagger, whatever. I said, a client of mine is going to be there, blah, 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 blah. Long and short, I said, why don't I swing by, pick you up, we'll go to the club, and then we can talk. We can do the whole thing. That's how, in that night, he got in the car, literally, and after I said, hey, how are you? That guy did not shut up from the time we left his house until we pulled into the parking lot of the club.
Hate when that happens.
He did not say. I mean, I was like the whole way. I mean, he did not stop talking. So I knew about his life from beginning up all the way to that point. He literally.
You were a skeleton by the time that car stopped.
Well.
He was just, I knew everything about it. Everything. And I also knew really, I was going like, this guy's really cool. I really like this guy.
Yeah.
So we had done Palm Springs, and we did that, and then I we came back and we were like, yeah, you know what, let's talk a little bit more in depth as we go along. So we were developing that, and then our friend from Chicago, Larry Saladen, he had a date out here where he was playing at Avalon.
That crazy motherfucker.
That crazy motherfucker. That fool used to call me up. He called me up. What are you wearing? I'm so hot. I'd be like, and that's how he'd start off the call. And it's like, after about a minute of letting him go, I said, what the fuck do you want? That's how, oh yeah, well, I wanted to check with you about so Larry, Larry comes out for the weekend. So, and then I don't know why or what happened or how it all happened. Guess what? I got it. The same Larry gets into, I tell him, I said, bro, you're going to kill me. But the night you get into to LA, I said, I got to go to fucking Palm Springs for whatever.
I remember that. I remember that.
just ride with me and we'll go do this. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, that sounds fun. So
And he had a picture where he was at the pool and stuff. I think
oh
he
yeah,
was.
that
Yeah.
was yeah, that was it was disturbing. But yeah, it was
That
so I
was
told
funny.
him I said, listen, we're gonna go pick up this guy Steve, that runs the radio station. Yeah, whatever. So we once again I called Steve and I said, listen, I said, I gotta go to Palm Springs again. Why don't you come along? And I got fucking Larry, my client from Chicago. And I said, but the only difference is I said, we're not going by your house on the way back. So you're gonna have to come to LA. And he
Hmm.
says, and you want to spend a weekend with him? We'll go to the club with Larry and we'll hang out with Larry. It'd be a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun. So
Mm.
so Steve says, yeah, absolutely. So
I wanted to go so bad. I remember that. I wanted
oh
to meet.
yeah,
I
we
want to meet
invited you.
Larry. Yeah, I
Wait,
want
why
to meet
didn't you
Larry.
go?
Anyways,
Yeah, we
man,
invited you.
I,
Yeah,
I had to work. I had the family stuff going on. It was
you
like, oh
did.
my goodness.
Work,
Yeah,
boo.
yeah,
Yeah.
you had. I remember. Yeah, you had all that going on, and so during that weekend, and in between, when I was in between Larry time, when it was a break from Larry, then and I was working on a deal for Larry at that time, and that's where Larry was excited at the pool and he was doing his whole showing because we were talking to him at the pool. It was so ridiculous. You got this gigantic, disgusting baby Huey, perverted baby Huey in a pool, and then here's the two like suits on the side going like, Larry, this is what you. It was straight out of a
Yeah.
movie. It was so great. It was so great and stupid
Oh
at the
man,
same
I
time.
know. That's crazy. I should have been there, man.
But
That'd have been funny.
that weekend, Steve and I started talking, and I was the one that did the pitch. I came to him
Hmm.
and I said, why don't we consider joining forces? And because we can become a very powerful source,
Mm.
because I looked at it, I said, if you have radio in any way, shape, or form on your side, that's a big, powerful tool in a lot of different ways. So from my point, I was really still in promotion at that time and doing all that. And I said, maybe why don't we join forces and we can work together and blah 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 blah. Because I knew where he was looking to go, and then and I knew where I wanted to go. And that was the weekend. That weekend was the birth of what we know of Mix today, and
Right.
um, and in addition to having a great time with Larry and as well, and that's where Steve and I really kind of consummated, once we have what we have
Yeah.
today, and that's
And I used to have my own little show on the
mhm,
station. Remember the Dub Shine
mhm,
show? So I used to do that like weekly.
mhm.
I had to stop because relocating from California just threw me out of the loop
Sure,
on so many things. But yeah, it was really great, man. It was like good to see a company like that. You guys are growing and doing so many things. I think I even got booked to play in Miami at a
yeah,
winter music conference, man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you,
right,
you guys
because
booked me, man. Had a hotel and stuff.
yeah,
That was really
That's
nice,
dope.
man.
Okay,
Yeah,
I see you, Scott. I see you
that
yeah,
live.
was
we did, yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
nice. We couldn't do it though. The COVID
because
canceled
COVID
the
kicked in.
yeah, the COVID
I
kicked
gotta
in
get
that
like
year.
you guys, man.
Yeah, COVID came in.
I'm gonna
We
catch
ended
up.
up
You're like,
canceling,
fuck.
and yeah,
I'm gonna catch up.
I had my
yeah,
ticket ready, buddy.
that changed everything right there. I mean, which which was ironic because for me is, you know, if because because 2020 is when I really started focusing in on mix,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and 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 if I hadn't done that, I don't know how I would have been able to pivot well enough during 2020 during COVID to be able to. I don't know how I would have been able. I would have been able to pivot into something, but most the promotion business as a whole is, big large chunks of it literally fell
Mm-hmm.
apart during that year, and
Yeah.
have yet to recover, and so which causes different things, the way things going. So
Mm-hmm.
I was able to just like say, okay, all that's on hold. everything except Spotify. All the club promotion, all Billboard, all that, just none of that even mattered at that time. And I was able to really dedicate like 98% of my attention onto mix, which really benefited both myself and it was a benefit across the board. And then I remember we had something going on, and it's like, Steve, I've had business partners before, and I've had people that I worked with before. And Steve London is literally the best option I could ever have experienced before. And that's probably, I think, is proof in the sense of our own product of seeing how we've come, where we've come from where we were and in over this short period of time. And that doesn't mean that it's not without its headaches or its aggravations or these moments, because they're there. We've had extensive amount of growing pains during times, and we know each other so well. It's like, it's like one of the funniest things was, and this is early on, is he's emotional, and that's I think is one of his greatest qualities. Is he's very, very emotional. So he's either going to be like, kind of like, very overwhelmed with gratitude, or when he gets mad, he gets mad.
Okay.
I'm the opposite. I mean, I'm actually very, very emotional person, but when it comes to business, I don't allow emotions to dictate anything. So it's like, so I'm always so one conversation I was starting to get mad, and when I get mad, I might say some bad words. I mean, you might hear a lot of, what the fuck?
I think so.
That's when I'm really mad, or I'm on the verge of really getting mad, because it's like the F-bombs start coming out left and right, and then the F-bombs stop, and then it's just this flat monotone thing. It's not cute. So those F-bombs were coming out left and right, and he got mad. He's, hey, you don't curse at me. You don't curse at me. And I just stopped. I said, all right, I know where your boundaries are. So let's and then that's the closest to an argument that we've ever had. And we talk daily. We talk daily. Dynamite guy.
He's a really good guy. I've never met him in person either. I've really met any of you guys in person. I've never shook your hand. It's always been over the phone. I was in Orange County, you're in LA. I was in a family life and doing my thing with that, and so it was just impossible. So, but one day we're gonna definitely
we will make
one
that
day
happen.
It's gonna happen.
When you're ready, or you want to come do a guest spot, we'll make room for you at any time with Mix.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Well, look, I will respect your time. It's been really nice having you on, brother. Talking to you, letting you share the story, the journey, and kind of dropping jewels about how things work in the industry these days. And it's really a pleasure talking to you, man. I really appreciate everything you coming on.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, okay. And
All right, Brandon. We'll talk to you guys next time. Next week we're gonna have
Rob, it was a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you, and thanks for everything. Thanks for the knowledge, and I promise you got my word. We'll be talking soon. All three of us will be talking soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I look forward. I'm always here. Happy to do so.
And thank you for that, by the way. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Rob.
You got it.
All right.